Badlands, explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Well, good evening, everybody, and happy
Good
Friday
evening.
the 13th.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's up, y'all? Jazz hands.
Oh, God.
How's everybody doing?
I'm doing really good. I just learned something just blew my mind. Do you guys want to hear?
Not really.
Yeah.
Jay, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, John. I've had a little under the weather this week, but I am gonna try to hang in here without having a coughing fit. So,
Okay, Zach, I was joking. You can speak your mind.
okay, Zach, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay, so there was just a shootout in Dallas with a SWAT team and a wanted felon that they were pursuing. And it turns out that he was Jasmine Crockett's security guard. And now he's dead.
Oops.
Just like her future career politics. Yeah, wasn't he like, he was like pretending to be a cop or something, I heard?
All I saw was that Jasmine Crockett's security guard was shot in a shootout with SWAT teams. I don't know any of the circumstances, but I just thought that it was fairly notable that a sitting U.S. congresswoman would hire a wanted felon as her security guard. Like,
Yeah,
how?
but it's Jasmine Crockett.
What's that?
Is it that surprising? It's Jasmine Crockett, though. Is it that surprising?
It's more Jasmine Crockett herself, not especially, but a member of U.S. Congress. I mean, I know she's on her way out,
Yeah.
but I mean, don't they screen people? I mean, I guess they didn't bother looking at the Iwan brothers. I'm sure somebody's going to say that, but there has to be a process. You would imagine that at least there should be. And if there isn't, or it's being bypassed, then obviously that's something that needs to be disclosed, and we need to understand why.
Maybe it was intentional. Maybe she's just going for her street cred, or her hood. When her hood personality comes out, it helps her street cred to have some thug on her security detail. Who knows? I guess we'll find out a little more.
Yeah.
That would explain a little bit, because I'm sort of disappointed in her in a way. That, there's part of me that wants to believe she's, that she's smarter than her persona, and so
What?
I sort of want to preserve that, because and
I think
because there's evidence, right? When she
There's
drops
clips.
her accent, and she sounds very articulate, and
Yeah.
you're not wrong,
So-
Matt. I mean, she is smarter than her persona,
Yep.
but the level of intelligence that she actually achieves is still far below the general population.
Well,
Way below the bar.
On par with Gavin Newsom, though.
Yeah.
I got one question. Did he shoot like this or did he shoot like this? That's all I need to know.
I'll explain
He's
it.
a felon in Dallas. I'm betting like that.
Was he even looking when he shot? Was he doing this one? You look away and you shoot.
Run in, he's all like this. He's got a switch on it. And just can't
Yeah,
even...
that's how he
look at
lost.
you.
That's how he lost the shootout. He wasn't even looking at the target.
Well, yeah, apparently he was wanted for impersonating a police officer or something multiple times, wearing uniform and everything. He got pursued to a hospital garage or something. He like barricaded himself in his car.
I mean, that's a good place to get shot, though.
It always works out right. Yeah.
Yeah, they tear gassed him to get him out of the car, and then when he came out, came out with his gun, and they took him down.
Came out.
What goes through someone's head when they do something like that?
Probably
Not
the bullet.
much. Not a lot. I wouldn't think, really nothing of substance anyways. It's interesting that he was impersonating a police officer, because Kamala Harris, when she was in state government in California, she was overseeing a private Masonic fake police force. Like
What?
they had like a whole, they had like a whole group of people. They were all Masons, and I think that there was a female, so I guess maybe she'd be Order of the Eastern Star, but they created like Masonic police force badges, and they had uniforms, and they would go out into the community and present authority where there was none. And it all went directly back to Kamala Harris when she was the AG.
Can we just create our own police force, like Badlanders?
I mean, if we have like our own private land, we can be essentially, we can call them whatever we want. We can have our private security, and I don't know if there's laws against calling it like police. maybe Badlandia County Sheriff or something like that. And we could see about incorporating a little area of land.
This is going to summon G Money to here, by the way.
Probably. Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys. I got a daughter's coughing. I gotta
Jay, pass it on.
Pass it right through the computer, man. You're highly contagious.
Chat is saying my mic is way louder.
It is way louder. Yeah, I was going to say something too.
Dude,
Turn your shit down, man.
It's where it was the other night.
Turn your shit down,
Come on, Issy.
If it's too loud, you're too old,
Huh?
as they say.
We could all increase ours to the same volume. And
Well,
Can we just have a
said it's-
contest, see who could be loudest? I like it.
Zach, do you have the ads by chance?
I don't. John does, though.
That'd be a
Yeah.
perfect thing to kill time. So
It totally would be.
So I'll start with Zach. What's interesting with you these days, man? What's something that you've been talking about this week?
Oh God, this week has been kind of boring. I'll be honest with you,
I
but
agree.
I thought it was certainly interesting that we had a series of successful to varying degrees is radical Islamic attacks on American soil at the same time that the Democrats were stopping the funding of DHS, the one agency that might have theoretically prevented all that stuff. Even let's be honest, none of them would have been prevented. And I also thought that the return of Mohammed Jalla, that was definitely something that I did not have on my bingo card, because that story has so many layers. So we've got the presence of DHS essentially defunded right now, even though they're operating, they're just, perhaps at a reduced capacity. You've got Mohammed Jalla, who came into the country and naturalized under Obama, and then committed his support of ISIS, his material support of a foreign terrorist organization in 2015, 2016, was prosecuted under the Trump administration. The court system did not follow the guidelines and recommendations set by the prosecutors, gave him far less time, I believe, less than half the time. And then the Obama administration let him out of prison early, and they only gave him a very short amount of probation, and it wasn't intensive. And I read that his probation officer was coming to visit him at his home once every 6 months. Y'all, I've been on probation before, okay? And generally speaking, they're not nice. They want you to perform. You dance like a monkey.
Yeah.
And and so you got to show up at a certain time at least once a month, sometimes more than once a month, maybe twice a month, sometimes every week, depending on what you've done. And they're also going to make you drop just probably every single week randomly, which is taking drug tests. Then you're going to have all of these other conditions and restrictions, social service, community service, maybe anti-terrorism classes. I don't know. And he didn't have any of that. So they let him out early. That was a failure of the Biden administration. We have the initial failure of the Obama administration, secondary failure in the Biden administration, failure during Trump's term of the judiciary. And then he gets out of prison, and he eventually quickly goes back to what he was doing before. And they were so quick to try to blame Republicans and gun owners because it was a gun crime. And then come to find out, well, he's a previously known supporter of ISIS, who all of the aforementioned stuff happened. He acquired the gun illegally, and he just so happened to shout Allahu Akbar, which is just so on brand, right? And then at virtually the same time, we have another Durka Muhammad event take place at the temple in Michigan, which is also located in a heavily Islamic immigrant populated area. And that one was interesting because, of course, it was a school day, but there were no kids in school. And I haven't heard any sort of explanation as to why nobody was there. And everybody just kind of said, oh, thank God the kids weren't there. Why were the kids not there?
When they scheduled that, they didn't send out the right date to everybody.
Apparently. Well, I mean, it's a Jewish temple. They didn't want anybody dying, John. Just think about it.
Yeah, that's interesting to me, man, because it's the same playbook they've done for so long with the false flags. And obviously, as we always say, false flags don't mean that something didn't actually happen. They're not saying it was all fake, but it was definitely orchestrated. This is not an organic popping up of a terrorist. I don't think any terrorist. I can't think of a single time in the last like 5 to 10 years where like a terrorist act seemed like it was just a lone person. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Do any of you believe that these are like sleeper cells that have been activated because of the bombing in Iran?
Well, I mean, that would be the convenient narrative.
Right.
And I mean, there's been a sort of ongoing conversation about that for some time. And President Trump, mentioned the other day, we know who all of them are. He hasn't, there's been nothing stated to indicate that these people were part of that. But I mean, prior ISIS affiliation notwithstanding, the other guy apparently had his entire family killed in a Israeli air raid in Lebanon just before this happened. So, and I guess, I don't know. I feel like they don't need to necessarily connect it to Iran. But I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they were out there. I mean, like, does anybody believe that the United States is the only one, going, gladio on foreign nations? I mean, right. I highly doubt that we were the only ones who ever had like a stay behind kind of program. And I mean, it was only just a couple of years ago that the FBI sussed out a whole bunch of Russian illegals here in the United States. I mean, have you guys ever seen The Americans?
I've never
actually watched the show.
Okay, Matt, you like
Yes,
it. I'm assuming it's a good show. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. Jonathan, you need to watch The Americans. It's
I've
so
seen
good.
clips. I never watched the whole thing.
So
I'm with you there.
I am big on Spycraft, especially when it's done well, and also, of course, I like Cold War type stuff. But so the plot of The Americans. Russia had a program for a special unit within the KGB, where they had agents that had trained to assimilate into American life, and they were sent here with fake identities. I mean, they were identities that essentially were taken from like a dead baby or something like that, and then they would show up someplace at some point in the past, and then they would settle in. They would have jobs that would afford them some access to something that would be beneficial for the Russian government to, gain access to. And then they would have families. The kids would be natural born American citizens. They would be posing as Americans. And the whole time that they're here, they would be gathering information, doing dead drops, just acting like spies, but then also carrying on their regular everyday American lives. And the concept of it is just fascinating to me. Like, because a Russian accent is not the easiest thing to cover up. Like, if you grew up speaking Russian natively, to be able to train yourself to speak like an American, I would imagine it would be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
And
these were people who were already adults who then went and did this. It's not like they were
early adults, young adults. But yeah, it's not, they didn't come here at like, in their teens or something like that. And I don't know how many years they trained them in Russia before they sent them here. But I mean, the illegals that the FBI caught here in America, it was exactly like the plot of The Americans. I mean, they had children. There were a number of them who had families together. And when they kicked the illegals out, I mean, the illegals obviously take their kids and they head back to Russia, and they're heroes essentially.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by spy dramas, and I remember when I was younger. Obviously, I was younger, but like maybe 10 years ago, I'd watch those, and I've always been into conspiracies. I've always believed that the world was way more orchestrated than they lead us to believe.
Sure,
but man, the way that these things are lining up with like our current day is just fascinating. Like, I can't tell if it was predictive programming, if it was like karma clearing, what it was, but there was definitely some insight behind it when these shows were written.
I think that one of the causal factors is certainly you're going to have a type of predictive programming. I think that whenever there is an event that will be like especially massaged, like a major op, like 9/11, you know, I mean, everybody points to the Lone Gunman show, where they basically had the plot of 9/11 before 9/11.
Yep.
Like an instance like that, I think it's seeded in like popular culture prior to, so that if you do go to research the actual event later, you will end up coming to information like that. And so, you know, then people can say plausibly, oh, you know, you're remembering this, you know, TV show. It has nothing to do with a conspiracy that might be what you're thinking of.
What was that movie that during COVID people were talking about? It was a movie, or I think it was a TV show that actually had a coronavirus outbreak that used hydroxychloroquine as a treatment.
That was it was
2003 or 4 or something.
Yeah, Anthony Michael Hall based on a Stephen King story. Hang on.
Yeah, what was it called?
I mean, that was so on the nose because
it was.
It's one of those types of things. What are the odds?
The Dead Zone.
The Dead Zone. Dead Zone.
Yeah, that's right.
I just like about
What are the
2003.
odds that that was just a random thing? I don't know. It just seems too out there to be totally random.
Yeah, I think that one was definitely done on purpose.
And I mean, I know this type of thing gets bounced around a fair amount, but what's the purpose of doing that? Is it to brag? Is it, you know, what benefit is there almost 20 years prior to the actual event? What benefit is there in seeding out something like that into the...
It makes the event plausible when it happens.
Okay.
Because then they were, oh my God, do you remember that episode of the Dead Zone? The couple of people that will. Others won't remember the episode of the Dead Zone, but then they'll hear this and they'll be like, oh my God, a killer COVID virus. Now hydroxychloroquine.
With like the therapeutics being used too.
Yeah.
And that stuff's been going on forever too. And I mean, to the point where people were seeing it from the angle of like, oh, they're giving the bad guys ideas, you know? And
I remember hearing that. Yeah.
That's
my parents would always say that. Oh, good.
Yep.
Now we're going to see
So
this
gay.
happen because they're planting these seeds for bad guys to imitate.
Now,
so there's kind of that angle too.
I think that's obviously super gay. Like anything that most things that people are thinking about or like writing for, you know, entertainment purposes, they've got their own writers' rooms. Okay, like they've got teams working on you know, like scenarios to play out and then contingencies for contingencies. So they've got all that stuff. They've already figured all of that out. Now, when you think about something like, say, Project Looking Glass, I think it's possible that maybe the Dead Zone might have had the insert from hydroxychloroquine as maybe an indicator of a possible therapeutic that could be used. And so maybe somebody would see that, oh my gosh, they used hydroxychloroquine in the Dead Zone and it says it's a COVID virus. So maybe that's something we could do. So it may have been like an insert from a future timeline.
Yeah. I'm excited.
There's also a study around that time that chloroquine or something, which is part of the same family as hydroxychloroquine, was used against like SARS or something to that effect. And I remember pulling up that information back during COVID and telling like, look, this stuff was used in studies for similar COVID type symptoms, whatever COVID actually is. That's a whole other topic, obviously. But like that was at that point, they've been 20 years earlier. So that it's not like that information is, it wasn't unknown as a potential treatment option.
No, not at all.
Not at all. No.
Well, here's the question. Was there an active patent at that time? Because if there was an active patent, then it could have been monetizable as a medication that has come out of the patent phase. It's available for anybody to produce as a generic, and it's far more difficult to make money off of it.
Right.
Yeah.
What I missed, guys?
Everything.
Predictive.
So much, man.
We were talking about the triple decker Islamic fascist attack that that took place this past week, and then thinking about the seeding of sleeper cells. What do you think about sleeper cells, John?
Well, I think they are very active. I always thought it was interesting how often Ezra Cohen Watnick talked about them. Him and Josh Steinman, they talk about it all the damn time. So I don't know, but when I think sleeper cells, I don't think like just one random guy.
No,
driving a truck into a synagogue. I expect something a little more, I don't know, a little bigger, I guess.
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, based on President Trump's suggestion that they are watching these sleeper cells and they know where they are, if they could have connected any of these three, or even if they wanted to, then I think they could have very easily done it. And the fact that they haven't indicates more likely that we're just dealing with, a couple of
I think
individuals.
I mean, I think it's more likely. They're just, people will go a little crazy. They'll get very passionate about this. They're very pro-Iran, or they're like New York Times readers, and they get all riled up, and and stuff like that's bound to happen. I don't think you can prevent every one of those things from happening. Even if you had the all important DHS funded right now, I don't think it would have prevented any of those.
Yeah. Are you guys seeing the videos of how long the lines are at airports?
Yeah, Austin, it was like ridiculous. They said Austin, it was like wrapping around outside the airport.
For the
Crazy.
security
Or like,
line?
and if they had like non-refundable tickets, they were just screwed. Like they're just out.
Damn.
I definitely
Glad I'm
bought.
driving to Nashville.
I paid for the upgrade on my ticket to Nashville because I was like, you never know what's going to happen by
I
that
haven't
time.
done mine yet, but that's probably a good idea.
You haven't done mine either. Shit. Do you think we'll get DHS funding by then?
No.
I don't. Well, I mean, after 3 possible Islamo-fascist attacks in 1 week, Democrats are now, I think, feeling a little
pressure.
a little nervous about the fact that they have kept DHS defunded. I mean, even if DHS wouldn't have caught any of these guys, the insinuation is that they've caused this, which is, of course, why they're trying to say that it's Republicans that caused it, even though there's like not even a single connection. So what I was saying while you were gone was that the resurgence of Mohammed Jalla as the guy at Old Dominion, that was particularly interesting to me because he was a direct material support for ISIS. The Trump DOJ wanted to put him away for 20 years. He was only given like 10 years, I believe, by the judge. So that's a failure of the judge. And then he was released early during the Biden administration, which is another failure of the justice system under a different administration.
Failure or success?
Excuse me?
I said
Depends on your
failure or
perspective.
success.
Well, a success for the deep state. I mean, and here's the other wrinkle to it, because I think normally anytime people are thinking about a false flag, you're thinking about like an evil government that is committing the false flag. But I clearly don't think that like the Trump administration would have orchestrated any of these events. But I think that they easily could have been orchestrated by, say, a separate siloed deep state window group within the government that's still operating, because obviously the fourth branch of government is still huge, even though they've gotten rid of a lot of people.
Yeah, wild. I wonder how bad it's going to get. Did you see we're sending the boat over to like a Navy vessel? We're going to get
with like
that island out there or something. People
2,200 Marines or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild too.
Wait.
Is that Karg Island? Is that what you're talking about in Iran?
Yeah. People are saying we're going to get the Karg Island.
So Brian Kilney just asked President Trump about that, and he bristled. He was like, "You're so stupid. I can't believe you'd even ask me about that. Like, what kind of a person would answer that? Have they actually announced that that's the location of where we're going?"
Well, no. But
Okay.
It's just like everybody's like, well, obviously they're probably going to go do that because they just bombed the shit out of it today.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, when I heard about it, I figured it's probably going to be protection for cargo ships and oil bearing vessels that are going to be going through the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if we actually get boots on the ground over there or not.
Lindsey Graham will freaking blow a load if he.
The guy's
already did.
so
He
dehydrated.
already blew one load, man.
I know he's just he's running. He's shooting blanks now.
Exactly.
Dry
Too
heaves.
Try.
Oh my gosh.
You get old, things happen.
Matt, tell us about your experiences, brother.
Matt, what do we got? Matt?
It takes a while.
Ah,
I could tell you how to do a good Russian accent if you want. This was up earlier. I could. When I was at Georgetown, and I was learning Russian, they said the secret to do a Russian accent, because you were talking about difficulty of getting rid of it, and to do a Russian accent, the key to a good Russian accent is that you have to fall in tone at the end of every sentence. You have to talk like this. So yeah, I'm Russian. I'm living in the United States. You have to go down, and it sounds really weird to us, but if you're speaking a Russian, the way we speak in Russian, to a Russian sounds like we're always frantic. We're always like, why are you so crazy? And so to be a Russian in the US and to pass as American, like you were talking about, you have to make yourself sound a little bit crazy and manic all the time to your own ears.
Like the
Don't
opposite
drop
of
your
Valley
sentence
Girl.
there, huh?
Okay, well, give me a Russian accent then. Let me hear it.
Well, you talk like this. So, John, how are you doing today? Are you doing okay? You were away for a while. Why did you go away? You know, you do that. You just sort of go down in tone at the end
Nice.
of every sentence.
It makes
Nicely
everything
done.
sound like a casual threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get
right,
you
Matt.
like into alpha mode and put you in like a Boris Badenoff costume or something.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
be Russian the entire show. It'd be cool.
Hey guys,
Wonder how-
Clarkson B said in the chat is asked for prayers for his mom. She's 88 years
Oh.
old. He broke her leg. It's
Oh gosh,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
definitely, bro.
prayers up
Prayers.
for mom.
Prayers
Pray
to you,
for-
man.
Play first.
That's
Love you,
awful.
brother.
Yeah. I hope for a speedy. Pray for a speedy
88 years
recovery.
old.
Yeah. Some good genetics there.
Yeah.
My grandmother's turning 95 in a couple weeks.
Oh, you
Wow.
just had one up.
Wow.
Clarkson B.
No, I'm not one and up. I'm just saying because it's a lead into I was gonna fly out to Jackson, Mississippi. My mom, my dad, my brother driving out there. I was gonna fly out there, but I'd have to find other plans depending on Atlanta airport.
Mm.
Man.
Just made me think about it. I was like, dang.
Well,
Oh, on the
95,
Russian
that's-
thing. Yeah, 95 is good. She was born in 31. But I was wondering, what do Arabic people sound, or people that speak Arabic sound like to Russians? Because if we sound frantic, they sound frantic to me. I can't even imagine how much they're like freaking out when they hear someone
Or
yell
Chinese
Allahu
people.
Akbar. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chinese. Yeah.
That's a
I
harsh
know
language.
that the Sudanese guys I worked with, they said that I talked too fast when they were trying to understand my English, which is funny. It's like you guys are like racing through your language. What do you mean I'm talking too fast? But like anyone struggling to learn a language.
Wait, was
They're
this
like,
in
we don't want
Sudan
you
or
to
was it in
understand
America?
us, though.
Sudan. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Sudan. Okay.
I guess
fair enough.
all
I was gonna say, why did they
languages
just learn
that you're
English?
talking, Jonathan, all languages I've heard they have the same amount of information per second in their communication. It's
Interesting.
just some languages require a lot more syllables to get that information across. So they sound like they're talking really fast, you know, the tick, 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 like this. And some languages don't, but they've done studies. It's like the same rate of information is a constant across all of human societies and languages.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is an interesting thought. Language is fascinating. I wish I was
Yeah.
more of a what is
Linguist.
the polyglot. You know, people
Oh.
that can speak lots of different languages. That would be awesome.
Did you take any like language classes in high school?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Like Spanish or anything?
No, I mean, kind of by osmosis. My grandfather was fluent in Spanish, and he tried
Ash?
teaching us. Hey, Ash.
Hey,
Hi,
Ash.
Ash.
My
Yeah.
foreign language came like when I was in Sudan. I just started learning it, and I became conversationally fluent while I was there. But I've lost it since then.
You can't speak any Sudanese?
Well, it's Arabic. I
It's
mean,
embarrassing.
yeah.
whatever.
Salam alaikum. Ismi Jonathan. Kif halak? Alhamdulillah.
Say kiss me, Jonathan.
It did sound like that.
Ismi. Ismi
No,
is
no thanks. I'll
It's a
pass.
weird language, man.
No.
Heard,
Oh.
heard that about
Yeah.
that region.
Yeah. KS book. What is your name? You know.
Is that the region
Yeah.
where the guys sleep in tents together and they go on retreats? No, that's India, isn't it? Like the business
Well, I
people
do
go-
know that while I was there, a guy in South Sudan got arrested for relating with his goat, and then his punishment was he was forced to legally marry it.
Oh my God.
That's not a
What?
punishment. That's not a punishment at all.
I know. It's like, dude, you're like giving him what he's
He's like,
asking.
good.
It's like,
good.
dude,
This was my
don't-
plan all along.
Now I don't have to hide it.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then if
I-
you get divorced,
would-
the goat gets half of your stuff. That's ridiculous.
Oh man, he gets a hut. Wonderful.
Oh my gosh. That's the weird. Why would they make him marry the goat? That doesn't make sense.
They were jealous.
Uh,
Protect the
hey,
goat's
Kelly,
honor, John.
it says
Yes,
that in,
protect goats.
inshallah, Jonathan, and so this is funny about inshallah. If you guys are familiar with that, like you see that in movies, you know, somebody says something like inshallah. That means as God wills. Like if God willing, that'd be like the Christian version of I'll see you. You know, I'm going to go to Gart in 3.5, 4 weeks, God willing. The way they use it is more of a an out for having to actually do anything.
Right. Like
So-
if pigs could fly.
Right. So I was involved in food distributions and stuff, and so I'd be going around and meeting with trucking companies to bring the food out to the refugee camps that we were working in, and be like, okay, I need the food there on Thursday, and the driver would be like, I will be there Thursday, inshallah. And you learn that inshallah means it's, you know, if it's God's will. I have no intention of making it happen on Thursday.
Yes.
And if it doesn't happen, well, that was God's will. So I got in the habit of being like, no, not God's will, your will. Let's make it happen. And my translator's like, I can't say that. That's inappropriate. Like, tell him. You need to tell him that. So it's inshallah. You know, it's not going to happen.
That's so funny. So, do you guys know who Lord Miles is?
Nope.
No.
Okay, he's a British explorer guy that I had on my show one time, and he was in Saudi Arabia. He was doing a 40-day fast out in the desert in Saudi Arabia, and there were people that started betting on him on Polymarket if he was to finish the 40-day fast, and then people obviously betting against him. And one of the people who had bet against him called the Saudi Arabian police, doxed his location, and said that he was engaging in terrorist support. And so the Saudi Arabian police came and arrested him and took him to a black site. And he didn't have access to a phone, and he was in a awful jail cell with a shithole in the bottom of the floor, and everybody, nobody spoke English, didn't get access to a phone or any of his stuff. He had a cat. They just left his cat in the middle of the desert. Spoiler alert, it starved to death. And he said that while he was there and he was being interrogated by the Saudi Arabian police, he said the exact same thing. He was like, if Saudi Arabian police say inshallah, it means like it's definitely not happening because it's God's will, but they're not going to do anything to make like, oh yeah, we'll get you in touch with the British embassy, inshallah, tomorrow. Inshallah. And he's like, yeah. So not going to happen.
It was so irritating.
So what was the bet?
The bet was, the bet was whether or not he was going to make it through the 40-day water fast. And I believe it was like the 22nd day. And he was live streaming himself 24 hours a day so that everybody
day water fast?
Yes, a 40-day water fast. I guess that he got a little chubby, and so he was trying to see if he could do it.
He's drinking water for 40
just
days.
Water for 40 days.
I thought he was fasting from water for 40 days.
No, fuck no. He wouldn't last
great way to
72
die.
hours.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because some people thought the same thing, and so they bet big money against him. And once it got past 3 days, they were like, oh, no. But so maybe they were really pissed off when they realized what the true bet was.
So did they pay out?
I don't know what happened with the Polymarket bet. It's a huge scandal. And there are people who say that Miles faked the whole thing. Initially, he just like went missing. And obviously, he didn't have access to his Twitter anymore. And he was totally out of communication. The live stream shut down. But it was eventually confirmed he really was in a Saudi Arabian prison for a couple of months. Damn. And but still, there was a wallet that someone connected to him, which showed a $60,000 bet against him before anybody figured out exactly what had happened to him.
He bet against himself?
Well, no, people are suggesting he bet against himself. He says that he had a local guide, like an assistant that had access to all of his stuff. He was like paying him a salary. And this guy is supposed to be the one that gave the Saudi Arabian police his location. Allegedly, some people that had bet against him figured out who this guy was, reached out to him and said, we will pay you X amount of dollars if you make sure that Miles does not complete this fast. And then so he was like, okay, I'll take the $10,000. And then he used Miles's wallet to bet $60,000 against him. And then that's
wild.
Now that you say it, John, I think that they did pay out because, he definitely didn't make it.
One more question. Did you guys see all the paid promotions for Kalshi and Polymarket today?
No, did it finally become legal in the U.S.?
Well, no, I'm just saying that like DC Drano and the Wall Street Mavs and Breaking or Leading Report or whatever, all of them were reposting Polymarket stuff. And then underneath it on Twitter, it's listed paid partnership on all those posts. So that's super gay.
Having a Polymarket bot is the new American dream.
A Polymarket bot?
Yeah, you can have
a
like
bot like on Claude Code. that runs a poly market thing, looks at markets, follows whales, follows bets, finds a winning strategy. That's the new American dream, as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
Well,
people
how
are making money.
adaptable the American dream is. That's the dream. How adaptable it is.
It's retarded. Ash, what have you been up to? Why were you late?
Because, well, True Deplorable just said all shows are why we vote now. I had like 3 different Republican voting related struggle sessions today.
Explain yourself.
Great show with Marissa.
No, I'm not even talking about the show.
Oh, well, it was a great show with Marissa. So.
She's amazing, isn't she?
Yeah.
The show was great. It was not a struggle session, but I was asked to join a campaign today, to run a campaign today. Why the hell aren't you a Republican? You need to join the party so we can change the party. Like
People want you to run for office or just run?
People want me to fix the problems for them because I say the true things. They think that that's the answer, is that the person that says the true things needs to fix the things instead of them realizing that the things are true and actually like getting to fix the things. I'm starting to feel like voting might actually be preventing us from moving forward.
Don't say that too loud.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying,
Sorry,
Ash.
can you say that into my good ear.
Don't say that too loud.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's getting clipped out.
Oh, that was so
No, you
great.
come back and apologize for what you've done.
Both John's faces lit up when you said that.
I know. Thought about not coming to the show tonight, but
I can't wait to show that to Chris.
my 4th struggle session of the day. Let's go. Do it.
G Money is gonna love that clip too.
Oh,
It's gonna bring in some great traction.
See what you've done, Republicans? You done fucked up.
That's good though. When
Me
somebody like
running for office is definitely not the answer. Can you imagine the Oppo research of like just
God.
watching Badlands, just the reels?
Well, you own all of that stuff, Ash.
100% I do. I'll say it again.
Yeah. So it would probably make for some entertaining ads, and you can like film an ad of yourself watching it. Be like, "That's right, faggot."
Exactly.
I'll say it again.
Eat a bag of dicks if you don't like it.
Do you want to
that
fix
word on
shit?
here.
Then let's fucking go.
I do like that. Vote for me or eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah, I think it's a good one.
What
That's
office
catchy.
would you run for?
I'm not running for office.
If hypothetically speaking,
Hmm.
if elections weren't the problem, what
Election's
office would you
big,
run for?
so
Well,
but
prove it, Ash.
no, stop. No. I'm certainly not announcing a campaign on OnlyLands. We'll do it on
Why
like
not?
Well,
What?
Daily
That's the
Herald
best
or
place
Badlands Daily, or
if
maybe
anybody
one of my
does
own.
run,
shows.
if anybody runs for office, they have to announce on OnlyLands. That's like only
Absolutely.
appropriate. But what office would you hypothetically run for?
Um,
Or what
Or
office were you
for
asked to
Steve.
run for?
I wasn't asked to run for an office in the political sense, but in the party. Like you need to be part. So the party chair here just resigned. Nobody asked me to run, but it was implied that I should be involved in that. Now I'm not a Republican, and I'm the most critical person of Republicans in the state because it's very much a uniparty dynamic. They don't really even fuck with each other. They just argue amongst themselves within their factions and their parties.
I
Yeah.
think that's all the more reason for you to join the Republican Party.
But
Yeah,
it would
just-
be to end it.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, like, what they have right now is not serving the people.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's ripe for the commandeering. You can just
I
take
don't
over
have time
the
for
party.
any of this.
Ash,
Just
remember
start a
we had that
Badlands Party.
conversation about
We
running
support you,
for your HOA and taking it over? This would be
I
just
don't
like
have
it.
an HOA.
I know you don't. I know you, but this was something that we talked about when we were talking about HOAs one night.
You and a few of your neighbors could form an HOA and then make all the other neighbors be part of it. And if they don't like it, you could just tax them.
That's right.
No,
Be like,
I don't
"Yo,
want
you
any of
didn't
that.
vote for the HOA? That's your fault.
Hey,
Now you owe us taxes."
Should have voted.
I think to do the vote harder microcosm community and the Geotopia one, set them side by side, set up cameras and watch. Do like a 6 to 12 month experiment because I think they will both break down after that about time.
I'd watch it.
I
That
think
would be
I figured it
entertaining.
out.
they both abandon their positions and become the other side.
We need to create a political party, the Badlands Party, where our campaign is entirely based on telling people not to vote. Like, don't vote for me. Please don't vote at all. Don't do it. Everything sucks. And see how much traction we would get. And then the write-in campaign, drawing dicks on the line instead of writing in a name. I think that gets traction too.
Hey,
ballot design.
That you can legally
Yeah.
change your name to a symbol, right? So
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be words. It can be a picture.
What symbol would
John Drake, though, I think that we are on the right track based on what John Harold just said for our side quest project. I think we are on the right track.
What's that?
I can't tell you right now. I can't tell
Well,
you.
then
about
why'd you bring it up? You can't do that. I hate when people do that.
Because it's a tease for Gart. Have you talked about Gart yet?
I don't like surprises.
No, it's not going to be a surprise for you at Gart.
Surprise.
It's not going to
Mrs.
be.
Bright
We're not going
hates-
to ruin. We're not going to ruin this. It's not going to impact Mrs. Bright. We're not going to ruin the
the
surprise.
list of tasks that we came up with for her to do this afternoon.
We did not come up with a list of whose fucking side are you on, Drake?
Anarchy. He's on the side of anarchy.
Yeah, anarchy, chaos. I've got the
gonna turn
whisker.
into
I just need the bomb.
Well, you know we're doing a jury experience.
Yeah, it's going to turn into a murder mystery. It's going to be Mrs. Bright's going to kill somebody.
Mrs. Bright did it. It's easy.
Hang
The
on. It
murder.
started as a murder mystery. We were killing ghosts, so we could call him
Oh,
the
yeah.
ghost of Base Patrick Henry. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, but
No,
can we still call him that?
We can call.
We could still kill him off if you
Call
want. It
whatever
just
we
won't be.
want.
It's not a core part of
Okay.
the central
Yeah.
experience.
All
but we
right,
can call him-
We could take that picture of him where he's passed out and easily like transform that into a corpse.
Easily
Just a
frame
little
it
bit
with
of
a murder.
Photoshop magic.
Yeah, just make
Ghost
them a
of the
little more
ghost.
pale. Yeah.
Did you see the one with Tiny Bright on Ghost
That was
Sleeping
so
Lap?
No.
No?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, hold for processing.
So I'm sure you guys have all heard about this Benjamin Netanyahu might be dead thing.
No, I have not.
No, I heard
no.
about people being retarded though.
It is totally retarded. I just found this tweet where it says it's a picture of a guy speaking in front of a bunch of rubble in Israel. And the tweet says, breaking, this person claims that a major attack took place at Benjamin Netanyahu's home, and there's a fear that he may have been killed due to collapsing debris. It's being claimed that Israel and the U.S. are covering up this news, which is why it's being said that they will lose the war. And then at the very end of the video, it zooms in and it's Benjamin Netanyahu walking along with some other people in the video. So he's clearly not dead in the video where they're claiming that he's
I'm
dead.
not
I just
dead yet.
I was about to say that.
I feel happy.
I'll go for a walk.
Talk about predictive programming.
Are you going to show the video?
It's not a video. Oh, wait, is there a video? I don't know if you're talking to me. I'm pulling in an image.
I was waiting for her.
Yeah.
I was just
I don't care.
filling time while
Ew.
she was looking for it.
Oh my god.
Ew. Tiny Bright looks disgusting in that.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so
bad.
good.
He looks like a marionette mouth. Like there's
Yeah,
like
we're-
just lines right here.
Yeah, where is teeth?
Why are his hands two different sizes?
It's perspective, John. One of them is
Our
closer.
are tricky.
I'll do it.
It's in front of you. Look,
Wow.
look how
That
big my
is,
hand is.
that is spectacular.
Arm is like
Oh,
10 feet long.
That's great. That should be on next year's calendar.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Which somebody in the chat said we got to get that rolling soon.
We really do. We're already
'Cause I think it
3
ends
months
in
into the
April.
year.
No, I think the next one ends in April. Or
Okay.
the last one we did.
Yeah, somebody said that in chat.
People were killed.
Okay, so here is the video.
Right now, in one of the locations that was attacked, you can see just behind me, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has visited this place. This is one of the locations where a deadly attack took place. 9 people were killed, and there were, in fact, more than 25 who were injured out here. You can see Netanyahu, in fact, visiting this particular
There he
location
is, right there.
out here. And
That's him right there. Okay, so like I don't understand like what this dude was doing when he writes breaking. This person claims he doesn't claim that at all. And Benjamin, first thing he says is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is walking right behind me. So I don't know.
Are we
dude.
sure that's not Jim Carrey in a mask?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure of anything at this point, Jonathan.
Maybe it's the ghost of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Why are people so damn stupid?
There's a lot of retardation right now.
People are retarded.
So bad.
Do you think this is false flag stupidity? Like, this is Mossad actually doing this to actually create their own narrative confusion?
That's actually not a bad idea. Be like, let's just sow a whole bunch of discord by putting out the rumor that Bibi's alive, but then we'll just also put out a bunch of stuff showing him actually being alive.
They're like, hey,
Mass
Trump can say
confusion.
contradictory things. in the
Such a
same
great op.
Are they gonna come out tomorrow with like a cardboard BB, like the Ayatollah?
Oh my God.
That's how we'll know it's real. He's definitely alive.
I think we know it's real from President Trump posting Wii video game videos of the destruction.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. Some of the stuff. coming
Don't
off
tell
the White
people
House
this
is
war isn't real though, because they get real fucking upset.
Yeah.
Like really, like this. It's all. Question to the panel: Is the hysterical reaction about calling war propaganda better, worse, or the same as Ukraine, Russia?
Say it one more time.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Calling out, you're out on the internet, right? Or
Yeah.
here, certain people, and you call out that the war propaganda is war propaganda. Is the reaction that you will get from Twitter or your, non-fake believing friends, better, worse, or the same than the Ukraine-Russia conflict?
Well, that was a really poorly phrased question, I think. But
I'm
long
still
way.
hazy on
You
exactly
still-
what
you
you're
don't
looking
understand
for.
I'll
the
answer.
Oh,
it.
no, I mean,
get it.
Cam gets it.
Yes, I'm from a baseline, understanding what propaganda is. A video posted by President
No, I'm
Trump.
saying you say
No.
I think this is fake. I don't think like this war is fake, right? Like, oh, I don't think that video is real. The ghost of Kyiv days of the Ukraine war versus the shit that we're dealing with now.
That
Is
was
the reaction that you're getting to calling that shit out, is it better, worse, or the same than Russia and Ukraine?
I think
For
it's
me,
worse now.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
it's-
worse.
Yeah.
Definitely worse.
But
Well,
the
I
one
think
thing I
it's
will
because people. Oh, go ahead, Cam. Sorry.
the one thing I will say though is the left was the one that was freaking out about the Ukraine one when we said it was
Mhm.
fake, and I feel like this is the right. And I
Yep.
frequent on the internet. My circle, or at least the feed, is more of right leaning or at least conservative people. So I hear that louder.
Yeah.
And I
No,
more
in
the other side.
2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, the neocon Republicans lost their fucking shit. And anybody who shared an RT article was instantly a Russian propagandist. So that's kind of what the measurement that I'm
Okay. I
that
got
I'm
you.
playing with.
Yeah, definitely worse though. What were you-
It's not like mountains worse. It's worse now, but it's like
Yeah.
we haven't moved at all. We haven't moved the mind at all.
I think it's a little different too, because it's like the U.S. is directly involved, and I think some people get a little too attached to their team, and
Plus, Trump is
defensive of it.
involved.
Yeah,
yeah.
that complicates things a lot. It's a lot easier to accept that, someone on the other side of the world, they're throwing propaganda out there. But like Trump's propaganda is just, it's so like crazy and over the top. Like those sports videos he has, right? Where they're like the baseball one I saw the other day, where they're hitting home runs and it's like bombs
hitting
dropping. Yeah, it's I mean, people are like, is this in poor taste or is it just funny? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
I think it's both.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
definitely both.
And I think that's obviously very
That's a good
intentional,
thing.
which is like, it's so Trump,
And it's forcing people to utter the concept. If it's fake, then like it's okay, but if it's real, that's in poor taste. And
Right.
I guarantee you, most people that are saying that probably have never even had that thought before.
Right.
Hmm.
That's true.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
They
Anyways,
really
if it
killed
is real, then
the
that's in poor taste.
Ayatollah's son. Is that true? I mean,
Is
as
what?
much as we know anything's true.
The cardboard Ayatollah?
that he's disfigured and in a coma or something like that.
No, he's not dead.
Not dead. I mean,
Call it a comeback, Zach.
I'd like to. I can't wait to see him walking on stage with that one wooden leg, just hobbling out there. The robes billowing behind him like Darth Vader or something.
That would be kind of funny if Trump signs a peace deal with them and he goes and you'd have the picture of them shaking hands and he's missing an arm and you can't he's just shakes the nub. Oh, that'd be funny.
Trump's like, high five.
It's like, that's a very cool scar.
Oh, sorry, bro. Yeah.
Oh man.
We need a meta poly market for what news turns out to be fake and what what news turns out to be real.
Who
Like a bet on
determines
all
that
of it
though?
being
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll never know.
Yeah, no bets would ever pay off, but
Exactly.
Rock, that's fake.
Grok knows. Grok knows all.
Yeah.
That was well said.
Well, other news, John's football team pretty much won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, did you guys see that?
Nope.
We got
I
Kyler Murray
saw
now.
the message in the chat, but I have no idea what that means. Why you guys were hearting it and laughing about it? It makes no sense to me.
You'll
No,
be
his
sorry.
team signed
I'm with Matt.
mediocre at best quarterback.
We have the best quarterback in the league now in the Vikings. We are. I don't see how we lose a single game this year.
Is there a reason to even have a season then? Just
I don't think
No.
so.
They're
I
at
don't
Arizona
know.
Well,
like $40 million to just not have play for them this year.
Exactly.
The quarterback's only half the game, right? I mean, like you throw the ball, but somebody's got to catch it.
Well, they already have the best wide receiver.
Yeah, they do have the best wide
in the
receiver in
league.
the league. Well,
They do.
I don't
Really
know.
fun
They,
when he runs. When he runs,
Yeah.
he takes off. He looks like a little toddler going.
he looks like Tiny Bright. He runs
He
like
is-
Tiny Bright.
he is
He's got
little.
little limbs.
The Vikings don't have an offensive line, but that's why this is such a good signing because he's so small and shifty. You can't catch him. You don't need an offensive line with him.
Low
Perfect.
center of gravity, John. That's what it is. You know?
That's what it
Can't
is.
tackle him. Can't
Did the
tackle him.
Vikings often win Super Bowls, John?
Very often, almost every year.
Okay.
It's
No,
zero
they've
to
never
three.
won one. Yeah.
They did lose. They did manage to lose like 4 of them in the 70s, which I think
Yeah.
was quite an accomplishment, or 3. I don't know.
We got shafted on Brett Favre's year.
Yeah, that was
good.
your year.
That was when I first became comfortable with the idea that the NFL was rigged because they clearly wanted the Saints to be in the Super Bowl because
Oh my
they're
god.
coming back from Hurricane Katrina.
Absolutely.
And I remember Favre posted a picture after the game, and like his whole side was one giant bruise. He got so brutalized, and there were so few roughing the passer
None.
calls.
Yeah.
They just beat the crap out of him, and it was obvious the refs were letting that happen because they wanted the Saints to win. That was my takeaway anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't follow
for
football, and I thought the same thing. So,
Yeah. It's just some stories are just too good, you know?
Yeah.
And that was a good. Oh, by the way, speaking of football, I just wanted to point out Joey Bosa, super based, will not sign. He's a free agent right now, will not sign with a sanctuary city team.
Dang.
Really?
I thought it was
Nice.
like
very
that.
cool.
Wow.
Suck it, Broncos.
so what? So what are his options then? I mean, like
He's not. He's
most
going to
of the
another
sport-
country.
He's
Florida
retiring.
teams, Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa Bay. I think there's like probably Tennessee, maybe. I don't know. There's like a handful
Crazy.
of teams.
I didn't realize he was a
Definitely.
free agent. Wasn't he hurt last year or something?
Yeah,
He
he
got
was.
hurt.
He's the guy's always hurt. He's great when he can play,
But
he gets
he's
hurt.
also like one giant muscle. Like he is literally just like a walking muscle. He has
Yeah.
no fat. So you're
People
gonna get-
compare him to me a lot.
Yeah.
I get that.
Oh, John, before you left, I asked if we had any ads, so I should probably remind us.
Oh yeah, we do. I could probably do that.
did you guys see that President Trump called Maggie Haberman maggot Haberman?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
A new name. A new name called.
Well, he's called her that before.
Has he?
Sure.
I don't remember
I
it,
haven't heard
but
that one.
That's his name.
I don't
for her.
remember that
It's
one.
been a while
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
he's picked on her, right? That's
you know, he's
Calls her
definitely picked on her.
maggot.
He's definitely singled her out before, but
no, I know,
I
but
just-
it's been a while. Like that was
Yeah.
way back in the day. That was like one of his favorite punching bags.
yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna do our ad spot real quick. We got
Go for
Tamarack
it.
Gardens and then soft disclosure. Spring has sprung at Tamarack Garden. Time for your body to bloom with pure plant-powered magic. Kick off your spring glow up with their best-selling detox collection that lovingly supports your kidneys, liver, and lymphatic system, flushing out winter junk for fresh energy, clarity, and that vibrant spring vibe. Then hit the sun safely. Their nourishing sunscreen packed with skin-loving plants and natural SPF, tinted with cocoa for instant golden glow. No white residue, just radiant you. Protect against mosquitoes and ticks the natural way with their DEET-free plant-powered bug spray, safe, effective family protection. The herbal lineup eases headaches, allergies, anxiety, and more, all handcrafted by a fun family in North Idaho since 2021 from local wild weeds and wildflowers. Reclaim your health one plant at a time with Tamarack Garden. Visit tamarackgarden.com and use promo code Badlands for $10 off any $50 order. And they sure are a fun family. I'm
Yes,
excited
they
to
are.
see them at Guard again.
Awesome.
But we also got some soft disclosure. Let's do this real quick.
Legend says, on St. Patrick's Day, a beard without oil is just a chin with ambition. But a beard with soft disclosure beard oil, that's true treasure. Spiced vanilla, naked, smooth as a leprechaun's getaway plan. Soft enough to impress your barber, bold enough to confuse a baby goat. And this boar bristle brush tames your beard like it holds the crown coin. Every bottle is American made, which means when you buy Soft Disclosure, you're supporting 6 American small businesses. That's not luck, that's capitalism with cheekbones. And while you're at it, try our mint green deodorant, because even legends need fresh pits. Soft Disclosure, go for gold. Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code TINYBRIGHT for 15% off.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bottle discounts.
That's so funny.
I know. When is St. Patrick's Day?
It's the 17th.
Tuesday.
New day.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's cool. Everybody got their beard?
Jonathan, where's your brush, bro?
Oh,
Yeah, where's your brush?
Dang it.
JJ, where's your beard, bro?
I don't have a brush.
Beard has been
Ash,
Does not have a
the
beard.
old.
you're muted. You're failing again, Ash.
Fucking theme of the week. So we're the brushes are back ordered again because they keep flying off the shelf,
As they should.
Not good.
as they should. They are the
Can't
best
tell-
beard
can't-
brush.
Can't kill enough boars fast enough, huh?
Hey, yeah, you can.
They can shave the boar. They don't have
Excellent way of selling the brushes, Jay.
Oh, sorry.
Really well done.
You know, I'm
Your mom
here's
put you up to
me.
this, didn't she?
Yeah,
Margie,
you know my mom's. my
freaking
mom's
Margie
on
put you up to this.
How's she doing, by the way?
She's just off camera.
Margie's Margie's
Off the
turning
brush.
87 next Sunday. So
No way.
happy early birthday to her. And my dad's a
Absolutely.
week after her.
Happy birthday.
Sunday.
Mom and dad were born in the same. They were born the same week in the same hospital and were in the same maternity ward for a couple of days before my
Was
mom
meant to
went
be.
home.
Wow.
And then they went to grade school together. And then they didn't. Then my
Jeez.
dad moved to California, and they didn't really know each other. But then my dad went to dental school back in Buffalo, and then he stayed there. And my mom, they were both raised in Rochester. So yeah. So then my dad became a dentist. My mom was trying to get into the convent. She wanted to be a nun, but she had been a dental hygienist up till then. So she went to Europe, spent all her money because she didn't need money anymore. Comes back to sign up for the convent, and they tell her, oh, there's like a year waiting list to get in, because in those days apparently it was quite the popular profession. So anyway, she's like, oh man, I got to go back to work. So my dad ended up hiring her, and they ended up getting married the same day my mom was supposed to go into the convent. So
Wow.
kind of
I
fun.
can't believe they
story.
turned people away.
Yeah, back in those days,
Well-
it's in the 60s.
Yeah.
It's a very different time.
Catholicism had a much greater stranglehold on the American psyche back then.
Yes.
Yeah, you had the
People
kidneys
were
back, man.
lining up for the convent and going into the priesthood.
Yep.
Now
Not
they've got to
quite
recruit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's their
Wow.
story, and they're both turning 87 the next couple weeks. So.
You said Sunday, right? Is her birthday?
Not this one, but the following 27th.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say my grandmother's is on Monday, so
What should we get them?
23rd.
Beard brush, probably for my mom.
Yeah. Soft disclosure products, I was going to say.
She, by the way, Ash, she was so thrilled because she did get some soft disclosure
Oh, good.
products, and you know what she said to me? She said, "I love the products, but the best part was the note from Ash, because you had said."
That's
We
sweet.
love Margie.
Big smile on her face. So,
You're so sweet. Such a good sport. Letting us use her in the advertisements.
oh yes, she's
What did
not
she
used to
think about
being.
the final
Not used
cut?
to, yeah, she's not used to being the villain, so it took her a little used to getting used to
No,
being
that's
a
gotta
villain.
be fun for her.
Oh,
gotta be
it's
fun for
totally
her to
fun
Step
for
into
her.
that role.
Yeah.
Did you guys
yeah.
see the Grim Reaper meme that was made? Of
The
Margie?
Grim Reaper meme was
No.
so funny. I
Yeah,
sent it.
I'm
I
gonna
go,
find
Mom,
it, hang on.
you've been memed. So she's like, what does that
I'll
mean? I'm like,
find it.
well,
Hold for processing.
it means that you're.
She's like Denzel in Training Day. You know that one role where we finally play the villain, and everyone's like Oscar.
Yes. Yeah.
It's too funny.
The meme was really funny because I guess we've lost a couple beards, right? Mine.
Ghost is making a comeback
very
unless he
short-lived
shaved today. We
Oh,
never
is
know
it?
what happened, but he started growing it back.
Oh, this is the Maggie Haberman thing.
Yes,
Maggot.
Josh Reed too. Did he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Josh Reed.
I'll be right back, guys.
I think Josh got afraid of Madam Marge.
Yeah, I think it's honestly that's 3 beards now. Madam Margie has
Did we ever
slain.
establish what the consequences were for not shaving? I never heard that.
I don't want to know.
You're
Don't-
just
don't
gonna have to
ask.
roll the dice.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh yeah,
You'll
Maggot
find out,
Haberman.
Jonathan.
That's
If I
right.
ever bring Madam Margie to a guard, you will
Dun,
find
dun,
out.
dun.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
My attempts at growing. Oh, I know seeing that. Yeah.
There it is.
That's
Yeah, right?
That's so great.
That's so good.
Evil
Didn't I
smile
hear
on
her
my-
little laugh? You know?
Yeah.
That's
love
funny.
it.
Stuff.
It's good stuff. So what
What
else
else
can I talk
happened?
about?
What else
Well, I'll
Is
tell you this: in
Congressional
California,
gonna
they're
hair
digging
products?
at the fraud.
I didn't hear any of
Hear
that.
about the doctor that he ran $600 million worth of Medicare bills through.
Who?
A doctor in Nevada. This
Nevada.
7 years later, he had no idea this was even going on.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with it. They just used his license and got a hold of his license and $600 million, 76,000 claims under his license.
Yeah, like, and good, what a good sport. I mean, he spoke to the news about it. And he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, this is not me. He's like, I have nothing to do with any of these claims. He's like, I don't even bill Medicaid.
Yeah, so he says I don't bill Medicaid or anything. So
Yeah.
But I remember, when I first got out of chiropractic school 30 years ago, I was interning with this doctor in Glendale, and Glendale has a very, very large Armenian population. In fact, the largest outside of the Middle East and Armenia itself is Glendale, California. And not disparaging any group of people, but they are kind of known for being a little shady. I mean, even the Armenian people know their people are known for being kind of shady. And so,
Aren't the
there was
Kardashians Armenian?
yes,
Yeah, okay. That's
I
that
am at
explains
the
it.
end of the name. And
Got it.
yeah.
All makes sense.
Yes. So there was an office. We were in like a medical office building, and there was another chiropractic office right across the hall. And people would come in and they would like leave like 10 seconds later, like patients, and I was kind of naive. I was fresh out of school, and I asked the doc, because the doctor I work for is a great doctor, totally not shady at all. And he's like, oh yeah, he's like, it's a mill. Like they're just having people come in, sign in, and then leave, and then they're billing out whatever they're doing. It was either personal injury or Medicaid or something. But
Like a Somali daycare, but for
yeah,
medicine.
it was basically like a Somali daycare, like chiropractic center. So one day I'm like working on a patient, and we get raided by the FBI. Like FBI comes in the office, like guns a-blazing, and I was like, holy crap, like what the hell's going on? And the doctor, that I worked for, he goes, oh, you want the office across the hall? And they looked, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. And they went over there and took out like boxes of files and everything else, and they got busted. They were like closed down the next day. But yeah, so like this has been going on for a very, 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 very long time, and that was 3 decades ago. So it didn't surprise me when I heard this story, but it's funny that like mainstream media is actually reporting on it. CBS reported on it. So yeah, hopefully more exposure is good, and we'll see what is done about it. I'd like to see.
It's almost like that's what these programs were created for.
Almost. Can you imagine?
M2S says never fall asleep while listening to Badlands. Trust me.
I'm guessing that has to do with writing candidates.
Probably mostly on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So is Soft Disclosure going to come out with hair products as well? We have beard products. Are we going to have hair products?
Yeah, I mean, you can put the beard oil in your hair. I do that sometimes. Also, the goat's milk lotion is great for flyaways. People on Why We Vote tonight were like, your hair looks like silk. What did you do to it? And I washed it, first of all, but then I like smoothed the flyaways. So goat's milk lotion, possibly in the future. Not currently on the roadmap, as far as I'm aware. But.
And I'm telling you, I've been using the beard oil consistently on my face like every day. And it just it feels like I have brand new skin. Like my face feels like a baby's ass.
I should send you a gusha.
So maybe
if you don't have a beard to brush.
What is the gusha?
Send me what?
Lymphatic drainage.
Oh,
And also
yeah.
it's like, so the Jackie
On a-
has a video up on
That's what I said.
softdisclosure.com, and Jackie shows you basically, if you give yourself a neck massage with it. Like it's like a multi-purpose health and wellness
I like it.
tool that's also kind of a luxury what's the word I'm looking for? Accessory.
Is it a
Serious
is it a stone? Is that what it is? Like
yeah, I think I have one.
Do you have one?
Yeah,
Well, I am a big
um,
fan of lymphatic drainage massage. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Like, not in
I'll
by
send
huge.
you
I
one,
mean, it's good. It's big. It's big for
Thank
your health to drain that, because most people don't. Like, throughout their whole life, it's just clogged up.
yeah,
You don't want that.
No,
clogged is not good.
no. It's spigot flowing. Somebody
John's
wants
back.
me to tell the coccyx adjustment story again. I think that's run its course.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about your finger up people's asses.
I need a neck adjustment,
And I
Trip.
will see you in a month.
dude. I need it to work this time.
You need the one treatment miracle. It happens occasionally. I'll
Give
do
him
my
an
best.
upgraded neck adjustment this
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
If you could pull
I
that
won't
off, that'd be
hold
great.
back this time. I will absolutely.
I spilled water all over my keyboard and I'm worried I broke it.
Oh, I hate that.
Ooh.
It's usually coffee for me, which is gets all sticky.
I've done that before.
Mm.
It's the worst, man. But this is probably the longest I've had a keyboard, so it was bound to happen eventually.
Hey, so Ash, question for you. I just caught like a headline on this story, but I didn't read the whole thing. But like Tina Peters is not guilty of assaulting that person that assaulted her.
That was
prison?
overturned on appeal. Yeah.
Okay, so that
And it was she kicked a cop, but
okay.
there's video of that, but she always said that she didn't intend to resist. The way she was grabbed, it hurt her, and she had an involuntary reaction was her reasoning for that. The way that her case was handled from a protection of rights criminal justice system standpoint is atrocious. There's and in the appeals, a bunch of the stuff that Brian and I, we're not attorneys and we're covering the trial, knowing the facts of the case, but how they pertain to the law and those kinds of standards was muddy for both of us. But a lot of the stuff that we said in our trial coverage is what the appellate court said 2 years later.
Yeah,
About
and
what we were calling it in real time, like, hey,
Right.
the judge is being biased in front of the jury. Like, that's not cool. You can't do that. The judge is the authority. If they think that he thinks that she's guilty, that's going to bias them, right? And there was other stuff too, but there's a bunch of due process violations that came out in the appellate hearing in February.
And when is the decision on that appellate hearing supposed to come
Whenever.
down? No idea.
Yeah, we don't get to know such things.
Okay.
Whenever it takes, as long as it takes.
As long as it takes, and they can take their
And the
sweet time
courts
with
are
that.
super backed up, so it takes longer. And why are the courts super backed up? Well, because leftists and migrants are keeping taking all the time and resources on stupid shit. And the reason that they can do that and that they keep doing it over and over again is that nobody ever gets in trouble for bringing frivolous bullshit into court. They should.
Yeah.
The courts
Absolutely.
can
I've always
absolutely
said-
punish them. We should demand that they do because it's our resources, right? Anybody who's in court is like the first time. Why is this taking so long? Why does it take so long to get an answer on a motion to get? Well, because they're backed up. They're extremely backed up. Why are they backed up? Because anybody can bring bullshit into court. Nobody ever gets in trouble when they do, even when they know it's bullshit. That should be punished every fucking time.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
You're gonna
God,
agree.
I remember when the Duke lacrosse team was accused of raping those girls and it was all bullshit. And I bet what happened to those girls? Like, were they punished for literally ruining these guys' reputations and lives forever?
They should get the same punishment that the guys were.
That's what I think.
My long held position on on women that make false rape allegations against men. They should get the punishment that the false allegations.
That's what I think too. I've always thought that. And why that doesn't happen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was a case I talked about not that long ago of a woman who accused a guy of rape and he was living in another state. but the cops like went and got him and they prosecuted him without any real evidence other than her claims. He went to prison for like 10 years. She ended up marrying a deputy and working as the dispatcher at the sheriff's department, and eventually came out and exonerated him. He was set free. I'm pretty sure he had a major lawsuit against the state after that. And I think that her punishment, even though the prosecution had asked for her to receive at least what was done to him, I'm pretty certain that they basically gave her probation.
That's not justice.
Not at all. No.
How do we fix the court system, Ash? Like what you were talking about, how, you know, how backed up it is, the bullshit that people bring and don't get in any trouble for it. How do we fix that problem?
You're not going to like the answer, John.
I might.
Vote harder.
Congress. The rules are or your state legislature. The rules for the governing the court. So the federal rules of civil procedure, federal rules of evidence. These rules, they're set by the Congress.
Yeah, I don't like that answer.
Set by I know. I'm sorry, but which means we all need to run for office. Can't even get it out.
The whole system's corrupt.
We do need to take over. Well, if we're going to stay in the system, we all need to take over the system. We all need to be.
It's not even just the rules not getting followed and the rules, being superfluous or stupid or not hard enough or not whatever. It's there's so many of them, and they're again the thing about the rules of procedure in court is that all of the attorneys break them. So nobody ever holds them accountable for breaking them because they all break them.
Unless the judge doesn't like the lawyers, and then they'll get sanctioned.
Still super rare though.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like, don't do that again. Oh, you did that again, you rascal. I really made it this time. Don't do that again. The witness, the one witness that claimed any sort of intimidation in my case, revealed on the stand, admitted on the stand, she only ever named us because the attorneys, the plaintiff attorney, the fucking NAACP's attorneys told her to name us, to put down USCIP, to say she was intimidated, to say that she identified as a Native American because her dad identified as a Native American. That wasn't in her original complaint. Oh, by the way, this had nothing to do with us. It's on the other side of the mountain range. Wasn't anything to do with us whatsoever. But case went on for 2.5 years until trial, because halfway through, when we had motion for summary judgment, the attorneys convinced her to put down all the facts of their case in a declaration that it was us, that she was intimidated, all of these things, and she was lying. But
she did that during the motion for summary judgment.
For summary judgment, that was how they beat summary judgment, and the judge said that in her final judgment. The court relied on Miss Roberts' testimony almost entirely in denying the defendant's motion for summary judgment. And it turns out that she only named us because the plaintiff attorneys told her to. You know what happened? Fucking nothing. We filed she denied our fees and said that there was nothing frivolous about this. That is on appeal. It's case 25-1111.
Yeah, when does that get decided?
That one hasn't even been submitted to the court yet. But what we're hoping is that the main appeal, we won. They appealed. We did all of the briefing and everything of that, and we're waiting for a ruling. That was actually submitted to the court on the briefs on November 18th. So it's been kind of in the pending stage since November 18th. The other one isn't even on anyone's radar yet. It's probably like another 8 months before there's a notice in it, except the ruling in the first one can moot the matter entirely if the court does something.
Wow.
Craziness.
Yeah, I'm defending myself in that one too. I was actually admitted into the 10th Circuit Court to defend myself. The 25-1111, there's attorneys for, because I don't really have access to attorney's fees. That's a lot of effort for no upside for me. So, yeah. But that one, the reason I'm a part of it at all is because of it's changing the precedent, the Christiansburg standard. We're trying to change the Christiansburg standard, which is that organizations like the NAACP get presumption of good faith in court, which is what she said. Yeah, it's what she said in civil rights cases, because litigating civil rights is just so important. It's really important, and we don't want to chill it.
Well, of course, white people don't have civil rights, I guess.
It's not about the black thing. It's about being the plaintiff. It's about being the one that's bringing the case, the civil rights case.
So if you had a civil rights claim against the NAACP, would they legitimately look at you and give you the benefit of the doubt?
In theory, the same standard would apply because it is the standard itself. I know, but in theory, because the standard is about which party, it's about which party, and it's because if you're bringing a civil rights claim, the idea behind the standard is that you're generally bringing it against the government, right? And so the odds are stacked against you. So you shouldn't have to pay the government's legal fees. That was the idea behind it, and it's been taken over. You know, it was 1973, I think, that it became the standard. Since then, it's been, you know, expanded, of course, and applied to everything under the sun in the civil rights domain to basically mean that the so you see all the leftist lawfare, and they're bringing cases under the Voting Rights Act or, you know, the KKK Act or these acts. The Christian Appeal Standard basically means they have no fear of legal fees. So that's that case. That's the only case we've like ever really raised funds for, because it's, you know, we're trying to go to the Supreme Court and overturn that standard so that the NAACP doesn't have the presumption. So Mark Elias doesn't have the presumption of good faith when he brings civil rights cases just because he's the plaintiff in a civil rights case.
What a so stupid.
Yeah.
We could do what William Blackstone highlighted the Middlesex County in England back in like the 1700s. They got tired of the government's court system, so they just created their own in their own county.
How did that work out?
Well, for a while, you know, it worked out great. They brought back the old 100 courts and tithing courts of the Anglo-Saxon era. It was primarily for like small claim stuff. You know,
but the king didn't have a problem with it, or
how were people forced to like abide by that?
Well, in the same way that happened in the Anglo-Saxon era, it was in everyone's best interest to make sure it worked well, because it had become the courts had been, the parliament had created a bunch of courts for small claim stuff that didn't actually have juries. It was a jury panel, but they were appointed, so they were there, you know, as like bureaucrats essentially, and it was notoriously backed up, notoriously unjust, and it lasted for like, I don't know, 150, 200 years that way. And finally Middlesex County was like, we're done with this. And so people were tired of the problem, and they had enough purchase into it that they made it work. And I'm not sure how long that whole experiment lasted, but they brought back what, you know, the trial. Basically, it was trial by jury, and that was a case that was affirming the idea that trial by jury was by conscience, not by statute, because that's the way that the juries in in Middlesex adjudicated things, was by conscience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
Interesting. Oh, it's in the 1700s, you know. But it's an interesting idea that, you know, if the power really is us, the people, and it's supposed to be based on consent, then if we're getting screwed over by the government's justice system, then we all have a natural right to resist tyranny, and then B, we have a natural right to uphold, you know, natural law. So if we got together as a small community somewhere and someone stole from somebody or had a contract dispute, and we randomly selected 12 people, then under God's law, that's legitimate. That's a legitimate system. But the argument against trial by jury is that, in fact, I'm going to be talking about this on my show on Sunday, the sort of how it got subverted in this country. And the main argument is that it's the idea of the jury actually judging what the law should be would make the law uncertain, which, you know, hearing Ash's experience and all the other experiences that people have had with the justice, in quotes, system, it's anything but certain. And there's a quote I like of Spooner's where he says, basically, you know, people, they would usually go into courts of justice the way men go into battle. You know, it's like no other alternative is left. It's not a place of refuge. It's not a place of certainty, because they know it's going to be expensive. And he compared it to a labyrinth. You have to pay. You have to pay guides to take you through the labyrinth. But even the guides get lost or confused, or the confusion benefits them, so they intentionally screw you over. I mean, we're really, really, really far down the river when it comes to justice in this country.
Oh, we're far down the river on everything, man. Is there anything we're not right on the river?
I would say that's the most important aspect of it, though, because any law is irrelevant unless it's enforced, and that's the whole point of a judgment of your peers, is that the government can't enforce a law without the judgment of your peers, which is why they have done more to attack trial by jury than any other institution of liberty. It started pretty early. I found a quote from John Jay, the first Chief Justice, that I'm going to read on my show on Sunday, that he says, so where is it? This was from back in the early days of the Supreme Court. They actually did jury trials at the Supreme Court. So this was his instruction to a jury in a Supreme Court trial. And it was, he says, where'd it go? He says, it is presumed that juries are the best judges of facts. It is, on the other hand, presumed that courts are the best judges of the law. That's the common maxim that people have. He says, but still both objects are lawfully within your power of decision. You have nevertheless a right to take upon yourselves to judge of both and to determine the law as well as the fact in controversy. So imagine if people had kept that in their mind over the last 250 years. And a lot different situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the trust in the judicial system it's got to be on an all-time low. I mean, I know especially people on the right that see this two-tiered system of justice. It just seems like if you are unfortunate enough to end up in court, you better hope that the judge's interests like line up with your interests, and that's your only hope, unless you just happen to have a really ethical judge that does his job. But it's like a crapshoot, right? I mean, there's so many activist judges now, and it just it's frustrating. I mean, what do we do?
I mean, I say while you can, we still have the optics of trial by jury, so you can still, if you get on a jury, just do as much to muck up the system as you can and just nullify. Even if the facts are that the person broke the law, you still acquit. Then because the law's just by default, law's bad. Unless it's like murder. I mean, that's obvious, right?
Well, how do you
I'm like
know? You know,
if I
it's
was on the
really
OJ jury, that would have worked out great.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like if it's a murder, like if the person is up for murder, then you can't nullify a law against murder because that's a natural law.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But as far as like the statute, like, you know, I've told the story before of the fire department showing up at my house because I had a fire in my fire pit someone didn't like, and I was using scraps from my wood shop that were maple and oak that were seasoned, but they had gone through a planer. They were rectangular in shape, and I was told that it's against city code. If you're going to burn something, it has to be seasoned and split, i.e. it has to be triangle-shaped wood, so it's the geometry that matters. And if I'd wanted to fight that, I would have gotten fined, and if I wanted to fight that, I would have gone to court, and then I would have been, my life, my property, my money would have been taken away from me because of some stupid statute. Whereas if you know, civil stuff should be jury trials as well. They've taken a lot of those away from juries, and the jury would have been like, that's retarded. Like, I burn wood scraps.
And they do that for efficiency.
Right.
For efficiency,
Right.
we don't, you don't need a jury trial in civil cases. Just do a bench trial. The judge is the arbiter, so they can decide everything's fine.
And you don't need a jury because we have a statute, and you clearly violated the statute. End of story. And that has created a situation in which, and I've been hammering on this recently, where if you have to ask permission to do what is yours by God's given right to you, then that's not liberty. You know, you go to build something on your property, and what permit do I need? That's not liberty.
Yeah.
So actually, Justice Gorsuch talks about that in his book, Overruled: The Human Toll of Too Much Law. He talks about a hair braiding. He talks about a bunch of different, and not the jury aspect, but the law aspect, right? And it's particularly what you're talking about. You have a skill, you have a resource, you want to engage in some sort of trade or do a thing, and the society tells you need all manner of, permits and licenses and all of the different things. And it came down to there was one case he talks about in his book that was a lady who braided hair, right? That was like, and it was like the old, I know. she didn't have it wasn't even just the license. She had a license, I think. She didn't have the like required amount of training hours for this like native African way that she was braiding hair, that she had been taught by her, grandmother and everything. And there was no training classes for that. But she still needed a bunch of training hours in order to satisfy the permit requirements. But there's no training hours available on what she does because it's this like obscure thing. And she eventually, got away. But they ended up like she eventually didn't. She's eventually able to have her hair braiding business.
Right.
But it was like they ended up changing a statute, if I recall it correctly, so that it was like, okay, if you have less than whatever or it's something else, then you have an exemption, as opposed to this requirement is bullshit in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like we'll create an exemption to the bullshit requirement.
Yeah, right.
Well, and you can
no common sense.
One of the things that Splinter says I like is that when you look at the way the system has been, what the effects of the system are an indication as to its design. So if the effects of a system are to lessen liberty, in spite of all the language that we're given about how wonderful everything is about, the American system, whatever, if the effect is to remove liberty, you have to, you can infer design by the effect. And like, it's crazy the frog in the pot of water is the classic, cliche analogy, but it's so true. Like they didn't do it overnight. It was, over a long period of time. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go into the history of that this Sunday.
Nice.
That's exciting.
You already did, didn't you?
Not specifically. The chapter I'm going over is called "The Juries of Today Are Illegal."
No, I mean you already recorded it as well.
Oh no, I haven't recorded. I'm going to record it after the.
I thought you said you recorded today.
Yeah. But I got all my notes ready to go. I got to work on Sunday nights.
When does the ether start?
When I'm done with trial by jury, and probably 2 to 3 weeks after GART is my guess. Because every time I think I'm getting close to being done, and there's just more. Like I want to do the trial by jury book. It's a book. It's not really an essay. It's like 180 pages. I'm going to do it justice. The next week I'll be going over his chapter on majority rule, which will be interesting.
Are you doing that show with Pauly Mathenon?
Yeah, Pauly Mathenon is going to join me because the dude is a certifiable genius.
He really
is.
is.
And he has a deep baritone radio voice, so that will be very pleasing for people to listen to. And he knows the stuff inside. Now I enjoy it, and I know a fair amount about it, but he knows more of the technical side of things. So we're going to try to break it down as simply as we possibly can. The ether topic is unbelievably interesting. Kind of
Chris, give me an overview.
Yeah. Okay. Everything is the ether. The ether is the medium in which everything exists and also is made of. It is essentially pure potential as far as energy goes, although energy is kind of a nebulous concept, but that it is a communication medium. It is a reification medium, reification meaning making something real. It transmits vibration and disturbances. It was referred to in times past as like a gaseous ether or something like that. It's not a gas. It's not a substance. It's not Cartesian in the sense that doesn't have a weight, a mass, or anything like that. It's literally just the medium in which everything exists. And so something like light, which travels, so to speak, as a wave, when you're measuring the speed of light, you're not actually measuring something traveling. You're measuring the speed at which the medium vibrates. And light is a particular manifestation of the ether. Think of water has, or any matter has multiple states, but water is liquid, ice, and gas. And so there are different modalities, so to speak, or different manifestations of water, and based on temperature, based on pressure, vibration, etc. And so the ether is the same way. So light is it is something that vibrates through the ether, but it is also an expression of the ether itself. Magnetism is an expression of the ether. Matter itself is an expression of the ether in the sense that it is literally high frequency light to the point that it has become solid. Where
everything conceivable
everything
conceivable is ether.
Essentially, yeah. That's the argument. It is, yeah, it's really fast. It explains
or what? Ether or
ether or yes. Yeah. But dad jokes for the win.
It's a mom joke.
It explains the dual slit experiment. The dual slit experiment is a conundrum if you believe that light itself is moving versus just disturbing the medium. Even though it acts different when you observe it. Well, when you observe it, you're actually, when you're putting a measuring sensor or something to try to measure a photon, so to speak, you're actually putting something in the ether that is causing a disturbance, causing a different pattern to display itself. It explain, and the principles of the ether also explain everything from how human beings interact. Explain, and I'm not talking like in a.
John looks very skeptical right now.
No, that's fine. The way the ether
baseless conspiracy fades on,
like the way that relationships happen, the way that our relationship to God happens. It's fascinating stuff. And
John, the alternative to what Jonathan is saying would be that there is like some sentience to light, because it would be affected by you watching it. It knows you're watching, and so it will enter through the slit in a different way. But if there is something that is disturbing the path of that light, that would make more sense than light is conscious.
And when you hear people talking about like a wave, there's a wave. Well, a wave is not a thing. A wave
moves through something.
A wave is something that a thing does.
Yeah.
And so if light moves in a wave pattern, then that's an indication that there is something through which it is moving. But light is not itself traveling. What you're witnessing is just kind of like if you're sitting in the middle of a pond and you flap your arms and there's ripples that go out to the side, those are waves, but it's the water waving, and it's not like you are emitting something. You're just disturbing the medium. In the same way that as we're talking now, our vocal cords are flapping, and we're disturbing the atmosphere between our mouths and our microphones, and we're not really emitting anything. We're just disturbing the atmosphere around us, and our ears interpret that as sound. And there's a famous quote from Tesla wherein he says that light is a sound wave in the ether. It moves in a longitudinal manner, like a pulse type pattern. And so what gets interpreted as like a photon is actually just a point at which the magnetic and the dielectric, or essentially electrostatic manifestation of the ether kind of meet and create a pulse, and that can get and that gets observed as a photon. But anyway, we'll go into all this stuff in a lot more detail, and we're going to try to dumb it down as much as we possibly can. We're still kind of working on our notes to find a good way to explain stuff, because you're talking about doing like looking at the world in a just completely different manner.
This will be must see.
It makes it, to me, it makes it so much more fascinating.
So this came up today. John Drake and I were having a conversation about the third temple, as one does, right?
Normal Friday the 13th.
Was Revelation fulfilled in 70 AD, or is it still to come? And we went back and forth. And I ended up at one point in the conversation, well, maybe it just keeps happening in like a loop. And John is like, well, time is a construct, and the ether explains all of
it. Clearly,
time is a measurement of magnitude. Yes.
Well, I'm interested to watch that whenever you start it, man.
Yeah. Polymath is a great dude. He was always active in Chris's chat, and he and I talk all the time and share notes back and forth. And he's a good resource. And we both struggle with powers of explanation when it comes to this stuff. But we're going to do our best to make it as under. And I'm going to be doing demonstrations as well. We'll do the dual split experiment, and which you can do with a laser and like a razor blade and stuff. It's not as like high tech as but there, you can go on YouTube channels and see people performing that. You can do it at home if you have a laser pointer. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Polymathon, does he like do that stuff? Like, what does he do for work?
He is he
without doxing him.
Yeah, he's like in machining and manufacturing, type stuff, and kind of a jack of all trades kind of a guy.
Cool.
Yeah, he's cool dude.
I'm a fan.
I'll be right back down my daughter.
What I got from what you were saying, Jonathan, was that wave is a verb and a light is a noun.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Well, especially the wave part.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately the problem with
that light is not a noun.
Well,
is light something that something else is moving through too?
Well, light itself is not moving. Light is a disturbance, a particular type of disturbance of the ether.
Okay, so it might not be a noun. I get what you're saying.
So wait a second. When God said, "Let there be light," He didn't create a thing.
Well, that's the problem with language, is that we want to reify abstract concepts. And so when God said, "Let there be light," I would believe that he's introducing the first light phenomenon in the ether by creating a disturbance. And when you understand that matter is itself light, that is, you could think of it in a crude sense, light is essentially, or matter is essentially frozen light. Wherein and they've actually done this with lasers, where they have focused lasers.
Now Matt Trump has the baseless conspiracies face on.
Once light,
John laughed, but Matt has filled the void.
Yeah. Once light gets to a high enough frequency, where you essentially can't measure it, essentially solidifies. Which, if you think of radioactive, elements, they can actually punch holes through, the radioactive material. You think of like an X-ray is actually punching holes through physical, material, which is essentially light on almost the threshold of being solid. And so it's like, well, how could that be? Well, it's because light, it's not itself a thing. It's the manifestation of the ether, and that at a certain frequency, a certain energy, it literally solidifies. And so the idea that matter can't be created or destroyed is actually, in that context, is not true. Because if you have enough energy and focus that energy in a particular manner, you can actually, out of the ether, essentially create matter. It takes a lot of energy to do that, which they claim. The idea, I don't know if black holes are actually true, but what the writing is about black holes is that they're massive galactic jets, so to speak, and they're spewing out massive amounts of hydrogen, which is one of the basic element of the universe almost, and that it is essentially high frequency light. And there's ways to demonstrate that or explain it more in depth that we will definitely go into.
Cool.
It's good stuff. It explains that, I mentioned this yesterday, it explains the MH370, what are those orbs floating around it? All visible. Remember,
ether orbs.
Well, no.
Ether orbs. That's
nice.
Oh wait, no, John Drake, shut up for a second. Matt Trump, you get to respond now. I mean that. Loving.
I'm just listening. This is all new to me.
Yeah, it's not commonly taught in most physics lecture halls. I'll grant you that. It used to be back in the day. I mean, this was the type of stuff that all of the greats of electrostatic, we talked about this before, they were all varying degrees of ether, because there's different conceptions of what the ether itself would actually be. But Tesla and Maxwell and Heaviside and Proteus Steinmetz, those guys were all ether physicists. And really, the ether as a viable explanation for anything was, I would argue, was deliberately removed from the conversation after Tesla died, which is, you want to go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, when John Trump got a hold of Tesla's documents, about that time is when, if you wanted to get grant funding or anything like that, you did not mention the ether. When you look at the technologies that, like the technology that Quast describes, as far as like quantum entanglement being used for communication or things like that, that's actually goes against quantum orthodoxy, according to my understanding. But it is very possible in an ether context. But like with the MH370, the idea of being able to just vanish something out of thin air, seemingly, that is 100% within the realm of possibility with an ether understanding of what makes up reality.
It's cool. I was watching General Quast and Jordan on Thursday, and one thing that really stuck out to me was he like, you know how kind General Quast is, but he basically was just like, people know that, and it's proven that Einstein's theory of relativity is he didn't say bullshit, but I heard it's bullshit. Yeah. It's wrong. Yeah. And like I knew it. Like I've believed that for a very long time. But to hear him just like flat out say it like on his show is pretty cool. Because I was just like,
he didn't say it was bullshit.
No, I was just going to say yeah. Even Einstein acknowledged that this is probably not 100% correct. It's just the most correct for what we have at this time. Yeah. Am I right, Matt? I mean, you would know better. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what Quast said was that it has a limited range of viability, which is
that's the word.
That's just as Newton's laws do.
Cam read between the lines.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And it people do sort of make a broader leap to a lot of things about that. So I don't know what he's talking about specifically in regard to the limitations of general relativity. I'd have to ask him. I have a ton of questions after that broadcast with Jordan.
It's fascinating though, right?
Yeah. Well, I was very confused by a lot of things he said. I actually went through the broadcast very slowly on half speed, playing it over and over again, typing what he said at one point into a Word document, because I'm like, I got to hear what he's trying to say here. So yeah, I have a lot of questions about some of the claims he made there, and why he was making some of the claims. But in regard to relativity, yeah, I don't know if there's the limitations on general relativity are more of a theoretical nature than they are experimental nature right now. There's nothing I'm aware of any phenomenon in gravitation that says this is something we can't account for by general relativity. But there are in theory areas where we know it wouldn't apply, but those are mostly on the quantum level in terms of quantum gravitation, because we don't have any theory of how to combine quantum mechanics with general relativity in a coherent way. So that's a known thing, however. So I don't know quite what he's talking about there. Some of the other things he said there made me sort of confused about where he's coming from in regard to certain things, and his terminology really was confused me at some point. In the claim about I did a show about anti-gravity last year. It was after that episode where that guy showed up at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, where I had the privilege of staying recently, and his Cybertruck blew up, and he made some claims, I guess, in emails regarding anti-gravitational technology. So I said, you know what, I'm going to at least look into this to see what's going on there. And there is some there as far as people doing research about it, certainly. And there was speculation in the past about possible things like this. I worked with a really great physicist named Bryce DeWitt at the University of Texas. He once yelled at me at a cocktail party, but that's a long story. So when he was at North Carolina, he got funding from some institute was trying to look for some anti-gravity technology, and I didn't know that at all when I was in Austin. I was like, Bryce DeWitt was, but my impression is that nothing really came out of that. But the idea that there's research going on at Redstone Arsenal in Alabama about this,
Yeah.
Some people claim that. It's very sort of vague. But what I did notice was that there had been sort of really speculative material published in the, in the 50s, I think, saying, talking about making gravitational bubbles around things. And to me, it sort of never got beyond drawing diagrams about things,
right,
and speculating about that. And
nothing actionable.
And that Quast was basically describing exactly that. He was describing things that were sort of in a very speculative state years ago. And so I don't quite know what he means when he says those things. I would definitely want to ask him that if I had a chance to.
Are you going to go on his show?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I would go on his show. Yeah, I haven't been invited, but I certainly would.
No, I think everyone's invited.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I think we have a sign up sheet.
Sign up sheet.
You have to talk to John about it.
You should read your telegram.
He would love
I don't
to
think
have
I
you
ever
on
got a
there.
date. Yeah, but certainly I would love to do that. He's definitely a interesting man, and so it makes me think. Is he because the terminology he was using in that, and like I said, I typed it all out because I was like, I want to know. I need precision. In what somebody says. The physics to me is about precision. It's about exactly defining things, being able to express them in mathematical terms, that where you have measurable things, you can prove things through a chain of logic. And so, and he seemed to be talking about a lot of things all lumped together. And I was like, well, this guy's really sharp. This doesn't seem quite the typical of what I would have expected of him when he's talking about this, given his experience I think he got his undergraduate degree in aeronautical engineering, if I'm not mistaken, at the Air Force Academy. And so, there's certain things that you would expect out of at least that level of education, plus of his long experience in the military, his connections with the Space Force, or potential connections with that, I guess, and NASA. That so I'm like, okay, you're I feel like either you're sort of purposely saying not everything or something else going on. So that's why one of the reasons I was very confused about that. But certainly I would have a lot of questions for him.
I know that his show, one thing that he definitely points out is that he gives us like the surface level, and we're supposed to go dig on our own. Like he'll give us directions on different places we can go, which I love, because for me, when I was younger in my 20s, like I was fascinated by listening to people's talks for like 2 hours on some type of scientific topic. But the problem I had is I wouldn't take their word as bond, but like I would take what they had and then try to combine it with something else somebody else said, instead of just going out and doing my own research. And now like I'm forced to actually go search for stuff on my own. And I found that a lot of the things I thought to be true in the past, when I do my own digging on them, they may be true, but I just don't agree with them. So I like the way that he handles his show. And I think it's because it's also an hour. He really just gives us introduction into what is possible or what could be possible. Because more about, at least for me, it's more about thinking about the future rather than what we know for sure.
Yeah, it felt like listening to him talk about the gravitic propulsion idea sounded like basically what I had sort of encountered in literature that was speculative. It's speculative. To me, I tell people one of the reasons I don't talk about physics a lot on the air in Badlands, although I did a physics show tonight, talked about Epstein and cold fusion tonight on the show.
Oh yeah,
and people really liked it. And yeah, I think it was but I had done, I started my show 3 years ago, and I was co-host with Patrick, and it had come out of a talk that I had given about CERN at Threadfest in South Lake, Texas. And I had sort of jacked it up on CERN a little bit and had fun with it in a way that I almost sort of regretted later, because it's like, but one of the things I feel like is I tell people I'm a very conservative physicist. Which means that conservative in the sense of playing things very close to the vest and wanting statements I make to be true, and harping on the true, as my undergraduate advisor used to say. And so I very much limit myself in the kind of claims I want to make. And so I feel like if I talk, it's often to throw cold water on things. And I don't, people would approach me at conferences and say, oh, I've got this, what do you think of this and this? And I don't want to be the guy who's like, well, that's, whatever, and throw cold water on stuff, because I am among conservative physicists, perhaps the most open-minded one you're ever going to meet, in that it's like, oh, you want to talk about gravitic propulsion? Tell me what you got. I will listen. And I'm not, I'm not one of those, skeptics, that's like, oh, you have to believe in the mainstream interpretation or else you're stupid, the Professor Dave stuff. So on the one hand, I did a show with Patrick, and when I agreed to do the show and we came on the air in January 2023, Patrick had not come out as a flat earther. And he came out as a flat earther like 2 days before our first show. And literally I could not sleep that night. I'm like, what the
nice rug pull there.
I just get myself into. And so I spent the first couple months on that show. Patrick, he didn't really prepare much. He just wanted to come on and sort of talk about how everything is fake and gay. I realize. and even the image for our show, the Spellbreakers show, was I didn't even pay attention to it. I don't know how it was generated or who did it, but it was an astronaut wearing a straitjacket sitting in a field. And I was like, oh, okay. I get it now. And so I just did not want to go where Patrick wanted to take the show. I was just not going to go there. And and so I took control of the show from the beginning and planned everything out and basically played defense against the kind of inquiry he wanted to go, which is everything's fake and gay. And I was like, you know what? I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. I'm sorry. And I'm not, I will sit and tell you that a lot of particle theory since the 1970s is probably way off mark, and that probably the last solid theory we had was, you could say it was maybe in 1935, but to throw out everything because of that, I just not going to go there, because that is not my experience with things. So I'm very conservative, but I'm also very open-minded. Make your case. I'll listen out for you. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, that's not what we believe. And that's not what science is about. I told my audience tonight, anybody can be a physicist. You don't have to have a degree to be. Physics, the science stands on its own. You can write journal articles. You can submit preprints. We don't even really have peer-reviewed stuff. Is not so important in physics anymore. That's out the window now. Because we had to have that because of the scarcity of paper in journals. Now we've got preprint servers that you can upload. Anybody can write a physics paper and upload it to a preprint server. That's how science works now, which is a nice system the way it works now. So
if you went on cross,
ultimately there's no gatekeeping. There's no gatekeeping, but we
hate gatekeeping. I hate gatekeeping.
But it means there's a rigorous standard.
I guarantee you, if you go on Qua's show, I guarantee you that he'll have a good conversation with you, and that he'll be able to handle anything you throw at him. Last year at Deadwood, at Deadwood, I was at a table with some guys from Chris's chat, and the ineffable B kid, the guy's he's a classic. Quas comes up to say hi. He just right out of the gate, he's like, dude, we're not mining a helium-3 on the dark side of the moon. And Quas like, well, and that it was like
I'm really fascinated about that part of his thing about space mining. I think is very fascinating idea. And I when I do my show and I bring up these stuff, I know there's always going to be somebody, or there used to be always somebody out there. If you mention it, oh, space is fake and gay. Oh, the Earth is flat. Oh, their nuclear weapons don't exist. I did a show about that too. I examined the case against the existence of nuclear weapons, and I came at almost every show I do on these topics. I come away saying, well, here's the case for it. As far as I can see, here's my comments. Here's the case against it. You're going to have to make up your own mind. Because I can't come to a conclusion yet based on these things. And that tends to be, it's not as satisfying. I understand why, Patrick and his cohort, they get such wonderful ratings because they'll sit there and make any claim they want to in the most extreme way and in the most provocative way. And there's a certain segment of the audience that responds to that. And I'm not going to furnish that. But on tonight's show, I talked about fusion because we talked about cold fusion. I'm going to do second part next week, because we didn't really even get into the idea of whether cold fusion is valid or not. I just talked about how Epstein had played a part in the claim to have played a part in its suppression, and how that tied back in a weird way back to the very first claims of nuclear fission, and that through Robert Maxwell's old business partner, Robert Maxwell being the father of Ghislaine and Gabrielle Maxwell, who's his sister. But I mentioned when we came up to fusion, I said, well, we've got, fusion is claimed to be the first thing that popped up, the power source of stars, of the sun. Nuclear fusion, so the hydrogen fusing ultimately into deuterium and then helium and on up. And I said, I made the remark, and this is sort of typical of how I try to talk about these things, is that there are alternate theories about why stars burn. Essentially, the burning it produces the light and heat. And I didn't mention, but I'd done a show about this, about Pierre Robitaille, who's a very respected scientist in his domain of MRI technology, had come up with, had embraced a different theory. And I had looked into it, and I thought, you know what, this sort of does have merit. I think this is a really fascinating idea. So I had to sort of say, well, I put an asterisk here on this. I'll give you the mainstream. I'll give you what the mainstream interpretation is. But I tend to think that it may be different. It may be a different process, and that's as far as I took it on the show tonight.
And that's as far as we're going to take it tonight, because this is we're done. We're done. I'm sorry.
we gotta read the rants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zach,
all right.
Thank you, Matt.
I do. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm looking forward to that.
My science trauma.
Yeah, and certainly appreciate your feedback too.
Yeah.
Zach, do you have the rants?
I do.
Mine start at 9:20, so because I was late.
I believe I have them from the very beginning. Let me get it pulled up here. Okay. All right. So,
oh yeah, you got before me too, so you definitely have them.
Gosh. Oh gosh, I guess I don't. I didn't start mine until 10:52. Oh, that would be 9:22, or no, 9:52 for you. So maybe you have one before I do.
I have
the final demand.
My first one is Rave Daddy, and the first words are after enjoying a fun day.
Okay, so my first one is Rave Daddy, but it's they 100%. So
okay, I'll pull up the one right before that, because that's the second one I have. So let me share my screen.
I don't have
real quick.
either of those.
Yeah, but Zach, after that, go to yours, because I have it only in the chat.
Okay, so
whenever you're ready.
Well, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Remove.
And I'll read it since I have it here. Okay. So the first one is from Rave Daddy 523 for $10. Says, after enjoying a fun day in the GART Telegram chat, I wanted to ask about the 2026 Badlands calendars. The old one is ending in April, so we need a new one. Will they be for sale at GART?
So I think we all know that we
Thank
need
you,
to.
Rave Daddy.
Yeah, thank you. We all need to get on the creation of that new calendar, but I think that anticipating them to be ready by the upcoming GART is probably a bit of a stretch goal. We'll see what we can do, though, because we definitely need to do that. And then Rave Daddy with another rant says, they 100% use TV to pre-program us. I love going back and watching shows from years ago. Ever since Trump talked about alien files, I've been diving into Stargate SG-1, Atlantis, Universe, and movies. My friend Corin Nemec was on Stargate.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he played Jonas on Stargate. All right. And then the final demand says, John, a simple dick drawing does not induce the level of shock and awe America and the old ladies at my voting location needs. Only way is a huge veiny penis. To quote Q, nothing can stop what is coming.
Nice.
Gotcha.
That is keeping in the spirit with OnlyLands.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that's getting us
the
right back to our
45-minute
roots.
physics lessons was.
I'll come back to that.
I feel like that
learned
was
them.
a great return to our roots.
Return to our roots.
Yeah, we had to make at least one more dick joke before the show ended tonight.
If OnlyLands lasts longer than 4 hours, you need to see a doctor.
You do need to see a doctor.
And then Rave Daddy again says, a reverse poly market where bets can't ever be confirmed and the house always wins. You should call it bad markets. LOL.
That's the U.S. election system.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. Kay Kelly. Oh, and Kay actually mentioned this to me on my show earlier, and I forgot to play it because somebody else came in with another video, and that's how I ended the show. So I will play this video for us at the end of the show. Anybody see the Tom McDonald video he dropped today? He dropped a video about Epstein files, famous people in the Epstein files.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I did see it was dropped.
Yeah. And then ZBM says, my grandma was going to become a nun too, and the day she was going to join, she met her gunnery sergeant Marine husband, who had to lie about his age because he signed up at 15, was years before he told my grandma.
Wow.
Wow.
ZBM.
So
Great
she
story,
was
man.
older than him, and he lied to get in there and take her away
Cougar.
from the convent.
Take
Wow.
her away from the convent, just like my dad.
Man, that is like a fantasy waiting to happen right there.
Right?
Rave Daddy 523 also says, part 1, I think the best way to boil everyone's views down to a simple explanation is that we need a more educated society that understands the laws, rules, codes, and regulations. Part 2, so that when you have to be called to jury duty to peers, so when you have to be called to jury duty, the peers will judge that person based on education levels. This also applies to voting. So I mentioned the other day that if you've ever read Starship Troopers, I like the idea of people not gaining citizenship and the right to vote until they have served their compulsory military service.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably get down with that. If you, that is just very high level. That is the stated goal of what we're doing with the jury experience at GART Nashville. So badlandsmedia.tv/events. Our goal is to have a really fun experience that people come away with a greater level of education and knowledge of what a jury is, what it's supposed to be, how it works, rights, etc.
It's going to be awesome.
All right. And now I see people in the chat saying they feel bad for Matt. Matt, I want you to know that we all love you and we think you're brilliant. And Ash there was no other way for her to get in there, and we all need to go. But I want you to tell us if you feel like you've been slighted, because we all love you.
Not in the least.
Okay.
Show
Nice.
business. That's show business.
Okay.
Okay. Call show.
Now, if you could also turn your camera off and then turn it back on so that you're not frozen in the same position you were an hour ago.
It's a great shot of you, dude. It really is, man.
I think that's why people are worried.
Yeah, it might help people to recognize.
Hey!
Yeah.
Hey, I just thought you were really good at holding still.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. And then next, the Liberty Lion says, "Yo, just stopping in. Still no power. I may need to charge stuff on the Jeep soon. I made a critical error. Note: when storing backup generator, do not store in garage with electric entry only door. Oh my god. Yeah, I keep mine outside covered so that I can have access to it all times. Okay, and then Rave Daddy, again, thank you so much for the generosity tonight, Rave Daddy. Americans' issue is that a trial by jury is hoping that they are tried by uneducated people instead of retards. Yeah, that seems to be getting harder and harder every year.
Yeah.
Read Spooner's Science of Justice essay for the answer to that question. It's a short essay. You can get it for free on the online Library of Liberty.
Does it just say the people are all retarded?
No,
not on the soundboard.
Okay. The people.
Okay.
But they are.
Okay.
Trying to change it. 2812 VPJ. Gotta hit the honky tonks in downtown Nashville. Tootsie's.
Heck yeah.
Yes, we're going to Tootsie's.
Oh, that's actually a place. I thought he was trying to be cute.
I thought it was like, I was with Zach on that one.
Hey, Kid Rock's got a honky tonk in Nashville. That was pretty
Yeah,
fun.
Luke Ryan, some others.
And then Rave Daddy says, Ash, it sounds like I may have started Space Revolution as the right title for this panel, because this topic can be a reevaluation and a revolution at the same time. Call it bicameral, according to BB.
So in the GART Telegram chat, I asked for topic ideas, right? What panels do you guys want to see? We did our first live stream yesterday. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fiery, but mostly fiery, but mostly peaceful. And we got some good topics out of it. But I posted it to the chat, and Rave Daddy put space revaluation. And I thought that was a fascinating concept, right? Like, go back to like the beginning of humanity's journey to the stars and the kind of 20 years doing audit firm type stuff, but or at least having to take their trainings, not really doing the work, but taking their trainings. So the revaluation of our space investments, our space assets, all of that kind of stuff, I thought was interesting. I think he actually meant to say revolution. So we had a little back and forth about what it should be.
Well, it would be interesting if the money that NASA was allegedly spending would actually be spent on space travel and wasn't being sort of backdoored into like black ops intelligence operations.
Okay, but if space is fake, Zach, where where is the money going to go, man? You got to put it somewhere.
Allegedly, we're going back to the moon next year. Okay, so we'll see. From what I understand,
is there going to be a dune buggy?
I don't know if there's going to be a dune buggy. If all things being equal, there should be a dune buggy waiting up there.
Right?
And
the cameraman. Can we rescue the cameraman?
Oh my God! All of those Hasselblad cameras that are just like chilling up on the moon. If they bring those back, they would be worth so much money. Those lenses were something else. But so allegedly, what they're going to do is the Tesla rockets. Are they called Artemis? Is that what the big rocket is? I don't remember, but it's supposed to fly up there and then it will land. And then they've got some process to gradually tip it onto its side. And then the rocket itself will become the habitat. And then they'll build out from there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then Mrs. Rhea Freedom Fighter. Good to see you, hun. She says, fun show tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Murph.
Yeah. And then Digital Marine says, Matt, tell us about string T. I think maybe string theory. What has it solved? Is it real? Why does it seem like it's a cornhole for physics?
Hasn't solved anything except getting people money and careers and positions. Is it real? Well, it's a real theory. It really hasn't provided any answers, but
it's also a real theory.
My joke is, you've heard the Allen Ginsberg in Howl. He said, I've seen the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness. And my paraphrase, and I even used this at a conference one time, is I've seen the best minds of my generation destroyed by string theory. So that's which is sort of true. It was all the rage when I was in graduate school, and it absorbed a lot of mental energy. Not me. I stayed away from it.
A Tesla applicable quote to that, although it wasn't specifically about string theory, would be, there's a lot of men in science that can think deeply but not clearly.
Real quick, you want to pull up my screen real quick? This is what Tootsie's is, for everybody that's wondering. It's a big old purple building.
Right here?
Yeah. That's the one in Nashville. So,
all right.
When we go there, look for the purple building.
Looks kind of gay.
I was like, maybe Prince owned the building. I don't know.
They have live music in there. Like, if you go to the website, you can see it. It gets packed in there. It's a fun place. Lots of drinks, obviously, but yeah, it's a good time.
Right on.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna throw up this Tom McDonald video, and then we can all see each other later. You guys want to tell everybody
tomorrow? Yep. Thank you. Sorry, cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ash,
keep going.
Ash, you got
my
yours.
show tomorrow. Is it, what time is it? At 11 a.m.
10?
10. Okay. Thank you. 10 a.m. The Blitz. Yes. Burning Bright and I went long and covered 2 topics, but it was a really fun conversation. So tune in tomorrow morning. It's only on Substack. You can't watch it anywhere else. You have to be on the Substack, badlands.substack.com.
Nice. And then on Audio Files, Brad and I are doing a Q-themed show. So you'll have to tune in and see what that's all about, in honor of this Tuesday being the 17th, of course. So
17.
St. Patrick's Day. And then my show at 7:30. Flow. Does anyone know if Alpha's doing his show after that?
Don't know.
Whatever. And then DPH, Saturday night DPH, 10:30 Eastern time with Chris Paul and John Harold.
Okay. All right. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and sign off. I hope everyone here has a wonderful evening. Everybody in the chat, hope you have a great weekend. And I'll be back Monday at 5 p.m. Well, first I'll be back here at 10 a.m. with Brian, and then my own channel at 5 p.m. And then, of course, Baseless Conspiracies at 10:30. So have a good one.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.